And we begin with breaking news. A person is fighting for their life after a car crashed into a house. This happened in a neighborhood near 67th Avenue and the Loop 101. Police say they are investigating impairment as a possible cause. Thank you for being here tonight for 12 News at 10. I'm Troy Hayden. Let's go to 12 News journalist Gabriela Becerra, who's live in that Glendale neighborhood. So, Gabby, what do we know so far about this?
Well, Troy, there's still an active police presence out here. They have us pushed back by about a block, so I'm going to step out of the way so you can take a closer look. Just at the house straight down the block, you can see the hazard lights flashing. That is somebody's living room. The car drove straight in through a wall and a window where that car is now. We have told people were inside the house. Glendale police tell us several people were inside the living room. One person was taken to the hospital with life-threatening injuries. It's unknown if there are any other injuries to people who were inside the home. We're also still working to learn the status of the driver of the car. Investigators are on scene trying to figure out what exactly happened to cause them to lose control of the car. And like you mentioned, they're investigating whether or not impairment could be a factor. But police have this entire section of the neighborhood closed off. And they say it'll likely be closed off for several more hours as they continue to collect evidence from the scene. So they're asking people to avoid the area. We're going to continue to work to learn more about what happened here and those injuries, and we'll share that info with you as we get it. For now, live in Glendale, Gabriela Becerra, 12 News.
Some other developing news now. Thank you, Gabriela. Shocking dash cam video shows a toddler running into the middle of this busy intersection. You see the child there? And a car goes whizzing right by this baby. You can see it right here. And a second car almost hits him as well. So tonight that child is safe, but the Maricopa County Sheriff's Office is investigating how this happened. 12 News journalist Gabriela Becerra was in Mesa earlier, and she explains what led up to this.
An intersection Adriana Bayo frequently crosses.
That is a very busy, very, very busy intersection.
Became the scene of a terrifying moment last Friday.
That's when I see the child run across the street. And unfortunately, I panicked and started screaming.
A 2-year-old boy wearing nothing but a diaper ran into the crosswalk on University Drive in Mesa before stopping and looking in Bayo's direction.
I'm honking my horn thinking, get out of the way, as if he could hear me.
2 cars swerved and narrowly avoided hitting the toddler before a woman was able to bring the boy to safety.
That freaked me out even more than her mentioning it, obviously. So that dash cam video is pretty wild. That white car that was coming up, they had to swerve out of the way. If they were texting or something, they definitely would have hit that kid.
The toddler's father, Alexander Shaybell, tells me he wasn't home at the time of the incident. The toddler's mother was watching 5 kids when she left the home to go to a gas station.
She took the big kids down there. She says that the kids were sleeping. I don't know if they were or not, but she didn't lock the door.
Shaybell says he was alerted to the situation by his Ring doorbell that showed a stranger on his porch.
Some random lady was holding my baby. So I'm like, who's holding my baby? She's like, your kid almost got ran over in the street.
The father says he's relieved the child is home safe.
People need to pay attention while they're driving because things like that can happen.
And neighbors are grateful this terrifying moment did not end in tragedy.
It is definitely a miracle that child was not injured at all.
In Mesa, Gabriela Becerra, 12 News.
Wow, that is hard to watch. So tonight, the Maricopa County Sheriff's Office tells us the child was released to his grandmother. No arrests have been made, and investigators contacted the Arizona Department of Child Safety. They say they'll be looking into the case. We'll stay on top of this and bring you more on later editions of 12 News. A man in a wheelchair was killed after he was hit by a car in Phoenix. Police say it happened last night about 6:20. This is right near Central and Southern. The man was trying to cross the street when he was hit by a car. Police are only saying the man was 77 years old. They have not yet released his name. The driver is cooperating with police, and tonight they say impairment was not a factor in this crash. The investigation is ongoing. 2 people are recovering from serious injuries after a driver hit the golf cart they were riding in. This is in Sun City West. You often see people in golf carts in those communities near Meeker and Boulevard and Camino del Sol earlier today. The intersection was closed for several hours during that investigation, but tonight it has reopened. MCSO says the driver did stay on the scene, and deputies are still trying to piece together exactly how this happened. Nobody is facing charges at this time. We had a new ballot drop a few hours ago in the race for U.S. Senate. The lead for the Democrat, Ruben Gallego, in the race for U.S. Senate in Arizona has now widened. The race still too close to call, but Gallego's lead over Republican Kerry Lake now sits at 94,000 votes, with nearly 78% of those votes counted. But tonight, the Associated Press has called the race for Arizona's 1st congressional district, and that win goes to incumbent Republican David Schweikert. Schweikert was running up against former 3-term Democratic state lawmaker Amish Shah. This is the 2nd consecutive election, though, that Schweikert has won in a very close margin in his district. A great night here in the valley, and a little chilly outside right now, but it's a beautiful day today. Meteorologist Lauren Rainson is standing by with our weather impact forecast as we head up to tomorrow, and the temperatures may head up as well. Lauren.
Overall, not too shabby of weather whatsoever to close the weekend. Now, when you're up and at 'em early tomorrow, it'll look a bit like this here. Another chilly start, 20s, 30s, 40s in the higher deserts, 40s and 50s tomorrow morning across the lower deserts, 40s and 50s valley-wide when you're waking up on Monday. Lower 50s by 7 a.m. tomorrow will bring us into the lower 60s 9 a.m. Lunchtime, low 70s, and notice these numbers are slightly inching their way up and up compared to the last couple of days. Flagstaff tomorrow, mid-40s, 9 in the morning. Lunchtime, mid-50s, 60 degrees by early afternoon as those clouds continue to increase. I'm not tracking not just one, but a couple of weather systems this upcoming week. And one of the two, even stronger, set to return the tumbling temperatures, the winds, the rain, the mountain snow. A jam-packed forecast is coming your way in about 15 minutes.
All right, Lauren, we'll see you then. Looking for a job can be stressful, right? But now it's even worse because fake job offers are one of the fastest growing scams in the U.S. Tonight, 12 News journalist Tricia Hendricks has more on how these scams work.
When you get a text, somebody offering you a job, you feel like, oh, somebody likes you.
Susan Tompor recalls getting a text that sounded appealing earlier this year. The person claimed to be a recruiter from a major employment site and was ready to offer her a work-from-home position that paid up to $1,000 a day.
Somebody likes your work, they've noticed your talent.
But Susan is a journalist and knew the offer was a scam because the sender wanted to talk on the encrypted messaging platform WhatsApp.
Everyday recruiters are not going to talk to you by an app. They aren't using messaging apps, where they can do some hiding. They're not going on Telegram or WhatsApp or Google Chat.
Honestly, I get about 2 or 3 of those a week.
It happened to Paul Keener, a cybersecurity strategist for GuidePoint Security.
Anytime that there is an opportunity to get money or credentials or something like that because somebody lost their job and so now they're kind of in a desperate situation, or maybe not desperate but unexpected.
He says anytime there's a natural disaster, workers are at risk of becoming a victim too.
That's what they're looking for and waiting for people to be focused on that and not focused on looking at the details of emails or SMS attacks.
They have a threat intel report that tracks people doing these kinds of scams. They put out once a quarter.
We saw a 25% increase about that from 22 to 23. We're seeing a similar sized increase from 23 to 24. We're talking over $180 million increase.
So how do you determine whether it's a scam or a legitimate job offer?
Never single source your job hunt.
He says do your research on the company and determine whether they're actually hiring.
Try your best to identify a legitimate source for the information, whether it's the website for the company or alternatively where you are going through a reputable recruiting firm.
And if you're ever involved in a scam where money is involved, he says report it to your bank, local law enforcement, and finally the FBI.
On the FBI's IC3 website.
In Susan's case,
I know that the scammers, these are elaborate crime networks.
She was able to avoid this scam by following the advice experts like Paul recommend. Think twice before accepting a job offer, especially if it sounds too good to be true. In Phoenix, Tricia Hendricks, 12 News.
You can also report supposed scams at the Federal Trade Commission at reportfraud.ftc.gov.